This is where we hold them. This is where we fight.
You are now listening to Sweep the Rack podcast featuring Brooklyn Rob and Big Mike.
Rob, what's good, homie?
Mike, man, what's happening, bro? I want to hear. Let's get right into it, man. League. I want to hear your league review. You shot six. What did you shoot? 615, man. That's
like 614 or something. I think it was like 227, and then 227, like 180 something, and then 2-0 the last game. So pretty good. I mean, I threw it pretty well. I bowled pretty well. Shout to my teammate, Mike D. Shout to Mike D.
Mike D, the ladies' choice.
Mike D may have bowled his best league night that I've ever seen him bowl in the 5 or 6 years I've been bowling with him. I mean, shot making wise, he threw it real good as well. Our third guy is out currently with an injury, even though he's showing up and drilling bowling balls in the shop while we bowl. So I don't.
What is going on with your team, bro?
This has been. I told my guy Mike D, we deserve an award for our patience this league season because it's been a disaster generally.
That's terrible.
But yeah. So I don't know. Like we're gonna go into next week probably in like 4th or 5th out of 10 or 11 teams. We'll probably end up somewhere around there, whether we win or lose next week. But yeah, I've been throwing it good. I've been bowling well. That's carried over to my league bowling. I was making some decent shots. And Phil,
what up, Phil? What's happening, man?
Phil in the chat asking where we bowling at. I'm bowling at Bolero Hazlitt in Hazlitt, New Jersey, but I travel there. What up, Bob?
What's up, Bob?
Just because it's a sport league and I want to bowl there. If you're not a regular follower of the show,
let's go. Let's get it.
Dunleavy in the chat asking if I booked my flight for the Tat. I wish. I'm throwing it good enough. My confidence is high. The wife's kind of shutting me down on that though, so I'm working on that. That's where we're at on that. Mike. I'm sorry. I know. No, I feel you, Rob. Sacrifices. Nico wants to know in the chat about Mr. X.
I mean, we all want to know.
Obviously, like what's been driving me crazy is that Mr. X was on my team, and he then quit our team. He got the person who we're bowling with now to sub on our team, and then he got hurt, so he's out. And then Mr. X joined another team, right? So, just frustrating that we're showing up. We're bowling with 2 on 3, basically, taking a blind, taking a percentage of the average, right? And Mr. X is bowling with another team. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to propose a rule in the league meeting this year. And I think next week I'm going to go around and curry favor with people and lobby people to get this rule passed. And I'm going to name it the Mr. X rule too. I'm going to name it that. And the rule is going to be that if you quit a team in the league, you can't come back in. That's it. If you quit a team in the league, you cannot come back into the league. Okay.
People hate Mr. X in our chat, by the way.
He's always, I personally, like, whatever. Here's my beef with him. Like, when he was bowling with me and I wasn't bowling good, he was going around and talking all kinds of shit behind my, to everybody in the league, everybody in the bowling alley. And he stinks. I mean, he stinks. Like, he doesn't even have the potential to bowl well. Like, I might stink, but I really have the potential to bowl well. Like, if I bowl really well, I might shoot a really good series. Mr. X, like, maybe once a season is going to shoot a good series. Other than that, it's probably going to be a disaster. Last night, Rob, would you agree with me if I said you're probably the most confused on a bowling lane when you flag the head pin right and flag the head pin left in the same frame? Do you agree with me? I feel whenever I do that, I feel like, oh, Jesus Christ, I'm so lost. I just missed the head pin right, missed the head pin left.
Well,
in the same
here's
frame.
the thing is, I shoot my head pin spare straight when I miss the head pin. So I don't have a chance to ever do that.
See, I feel like I got to get up there and try and execute the first shot again and get that feel, right? I don't. Yeah, I feel.
That's how you miss 5 pins. That's
I know. So that goes on all the time with Mr. X. Like that's a very regular thing. So it's just to have somebody talking shit, putting all kinds of pressure on you when you're bowling bad. I told you there was a week where I double guttered in the 10th, right? I told all of you this. I double guttered in the 10th. Oh God, Rob, when I double guttered in the 10th, like he went around and told I had people coming up to me for
Honestly,
weeks,
I
saying
on everybody though too.
Yeah, but you know what? It's also how you say it. It's whether you openly bust my chops about it and then go tell people that's fine. Yeah. But that's to not say anything to me, but then to go and bust my chops behind my back to other people.
Sounds malicious. It sounds malicious.
So like that's the reason that I have like a little bit of an ill will towards Mr. X here this season, but also because of the sub situation. It does make it easy. The good news is Mr. X, whoever he bowls with, he's going to drive them crazy. I feel bad for the guys that he's bowling with, but they're going to be bowling on the last pair next week and battling to stay out of last place. So I think I'm going to go down and I'm going to be like, oh, you guys are on this pair? What places are on this pair? Who's on this pair tonight? And just maybe give him the dose of his own medicine back a little bit. But yeah, listen, I'm bowling good. I'm throwing it good. Shout out to my teammate Mike D. It's been a heck of a season. I saw Anthony Battaglia mention about bowling a sport league during the summer. Listen, we got a wonderful email today from a listener. I'm not going to put his name out there because I don't know if he wants his name out there. But the email it started off by saying, Rob, you guys are totally right. I mean, what better email do we love getting an email that says, you guys are totally right.
Tells us we're right, because it's normally the other way around. They're telling us that
you're wrong. Yeah. So the email was basically from a novice bowler, beginner level, intermediate level bowler who has bowled some house leagues, is an athlete, has some athletic background. And he was basically saying to us, Rob, that he bowled a house league or a sport league for the first time last week. And he shot almost sub 400. Okay, I believe was the number. It was over 400, but it was almost sub 400. And he was commenting to us how, we were right. And he realizes that like that side of the game is kind of fraudulent. And this requires so much more, of a skill level to be successful at it. Right.
Experience.
Yeah. So interesting to get that email. People are asking about summer leagues. I think I'm going to bowl at Nob Hill for the summer, Battaglia. The reason is because I kind of want to be close to home. I want to change a venue. I want to be able to hang out after and practice if I want to practice. I'm also trying to build some relationships over at Nob Hill. I feel like that would help me with that. I don't know what the quality of the league is going to be. I don't really care. I'm not really interested in that. I'm more interested in the convenience of it for me. But I encourage everybody that listens to this podcast or anybody in the bowling community to get out there and bowl on sports stuff. Summer's a great time to bowl on the sports stuff. So, Rob, I'm a little disappointed. I missed 2 tournaments this weekend from Greg Tack. He had a friction marathon and a frictionless marathon. I couldn't go to either because we had soccer and dance on Saturday and Sunday this week. But yeah, like I said, throwing it good, feeling good, planning on getting some practice in. I know you did get to bowl a tournament this weekend, Rob.
Yeah. So fast rewind 7 days ago, after our show Wednesday, I went to go work with Josh Blanchard at Mesa East here in Arizona. And I mean, like he looked at me for a few minutes. Well, okay. So real quick, funny story. I worked out Sunday and I happened to do legs on Sunday and I was having really bad leg muscle spasms. So I end up Wednesday trying to bowl in the first 20 minutes of him watching me. I couldn't get my legs under me because my legs were so fucking sore, excuse my language. But I literally needed 25 minutes to warm up. Anyway, long story short, once he warmed me up and I warmed up, he changed some things on my game, which I've never changed before. And one of them was my 4th step, which is your important step. If anybody ever watches Belmo and watches him in slow motion, Belmo's 4th step is his most important step in his approach. It's where all of his power is generated and how he's able to get a ton of rev rate, right? So I realized from him watching me bowl that I didn't really have a lot of legs under me. I was using too much upper body and not enough lower body. So I started focusing on my fourth step to try to get my legs under me. And it was a complete change for me. But when I was really doing it well, I was throwing it really well and I felt good. So I worked for an hour. Actually, while I was practicing, I bowled 300, which is funny because they kept the score up and I wasn't even paying attention, but the house shot was out and I haven't bowled a house shot in like how many months? I practiced
take a video.
Nah, no video. I didn't care. But it was funny because everybody around me was watching and I was bowling. I just shot 300 in practice and everyone's like, oh, applauding. And I'm just like, looking at it. I'm like, and I look up at the score. I'm like, oh shit. Like, I didn't even know. Anyway, so I go Saturday to B3. I'm like, I'm going to work on exactly what Josh told me to work on. And I did. And for an hour, I was bowling pretty well. It was on the team USBC pattern from last year. So I was able to get a real true sense of where I was. And I felt pretty good. I felt good, confident going to Sunday. Dude, when I tell you that everything that I practiced the day before completely went out the window, it literally exactly what happened. I probably in my own mind threw probably like 3 to 4 decent shots a game. And when I'm bowling on a like Dick Weber pattern on a house that if you miss right, you miss the head pin. Like there was no friction to the right. Like it was 44 feet. Dude, you move left, it went through the nose or you went Brooklyn. You tried to force it right. It fucking washed out, right? So I found something playing right of 5, which not a lot of people are really good at or know how to play right of 5. I found something really good about 5 or 6 the last 3 games. I managed to get like to minus 30 for the 7. I finished like, I think around 20th out of like 70 or 68th. So I didn't really, the scores, I didn't really look that terrible. I mean, my low game was like 180 and my high game was like 220. But Mike, how many bad shots I threw in my own mind? I mean, it was just awful.
Yeah, it's frustrating when that happens, when like, you know, you left so much out there because you didn't bowl well and then you didn't finish all that poorly. You know,
yeah,
I do that. Yeah.
Dude, a picture of a guy named Maximus doing a deadlift.
Maximus.
Engaging my glutes. Yo, he's right though. Legs. Watch.
Are you not entertained?
Watch any great bowler, and all of their power will be generated from their footwork. You work with Mark Baker. He is very, very known for focusing on your footwork when you bowl. So it was fact that I was using a lot of my upper body and I've been focusing on using more of my lower body. And when it worked, it worked. But the habits, man, I've been doing that for probably 20 years, muscling it down the lane. So anyway, so this past next weekend, I'm going to go to B3 again on Saturday, bowl for an hour. I'm getting ready now to bowl the USBC tournament Memorial Day weekend. And then I have a tat in a few months in July 4th week. So, and I'm bowling like the state tournament in the middle of June. So I got some bowling coming up. But anyway, enough of our bowling, Mike.
I love talking about our bowling.
It is. Though. It's great.
I do. Yeah, I like talking about our bowling. Good luck. Good luck with your practice. Good luck with your events coming up. You know, I'm just glad that the league season is.
I'm bowling Memorial Day. I'm bowling actually the Sunday and Monday of Memorial Day weekend, which is great for me because I don't have to take off work. I drive up Saturday morning. I bowl the Bowls Journal Saturday, tournament team Sunday, Monday double singles, and I leave and I'm home Monday night. So,
Rob,
anyway.
If you do something of significance at the USBC Open, and for some reason you get on video or get interviewed, I want your only answer to everything they ask you to be sweep the rack.
Or
like when they ask you, like, so how was it? How does it feel to take the lead in all events, Rob? I want you to just be like, sweep the rack. Okay, that's it.
I'm just here not to be fined.
No, that doesn't do the podcast any good. You know, they won't say the name, so you need to say the name. So go out there, whack them, and then sweep the rack.
I'll make sure
Okay.
I'll wear my Sweep the Rack.
Are you
shirt,
going to
too.
wear the Sweep the Rack shirt?
Yeah, I'll wear
the
it.
name. The name of the team is not Sweep the Rack, though, is it?
No.
No,
No.
okay.
I'm a fill-in here. I happen to just
Okay.
got on with a really
Okay.
good team this year.
All right. That's the way you do. You weasel your way into bowling on a good team when you
amateurs these days that are decent.
Guy hasn't bowled in like
great.
3 years. He's bowled a few times in like 3 years, and he weasels his way in the bowling doubles with Wesley Lowe. You people ever heard of anything like this in your life? Jeff
Look,
Fair, I see you in the chat. You ever heard of anything like this in your life? Look at this guy.
I'm telling you, Jesus. True amateurs are rare these days that are actually decent.
Yeah, no, I feel you. With the rule changes, you're right. You're absolutely right. It's a fair point. And listen, I'm just giving you a hard time. All right.
So anyway, Rob, Belmo. We got to talk
Belmo did a live. Belmo did a live. People want to hear what our thoughts were. You want to.
Yeah.
Where you want to go? What do you want to highlight? What do you want to talk about? What stuck out to you? I mean, I watched it. I watched the whole thing live. I was tempted to comment, but I was like, nah, you know what? I'm not going to comment. Like, I don't,
I'll tell you what
I just want to hear. I just want to hear his message. Go ahead.
What stuck out to me is that he's continuing to press this issue. To me, that's the big thing here. Belmo is not the type in his career, and if anybody has followed his career since day one, we followed.
I know what you're going to say.
Day one, Mike. He's not the type of person to go after and be outspoken about really a lot of issues in the bowling world. Safe to say, Mike. I mean, he's not gonna be blasting the USBC, the PBA. He's pretty PC in his whole. He's very professional. He's very courteous to everybody around him.
Measured.
He is. For him to go after the USBC,
smart.
I wouldn't say he's going after them, but I mean, Mike, he's definitely being outspoken against some of the rules that he disagrees with or the transparency behind the rules, right?
Well, he sat on the sidelines for a long time in this debate.
Sat on it. And then obviously the blow. So the one thing that really stuck out to me, obviously was the fact that he's keeping his argument going. He's not letting it go.
Well, to go back to that point about him sitting on the sidelines for just a second, the first thing that should stick out is that he's off the sidelines, right? I mean, no question about that at this point. But get ahead to follow that.
So he's continuing, and then he goes live because he feels like he needs to be more like communicative to the bowling world and more outspoken. So obviously his post generated a lot of discussion, a lot of social media talk. It probably even put a lot more fire against the USBC, right? And now he decides that he's going to go live, okay? Now, the thing about what he said about him going live was the fact that USBC, one of the points he made, was actually changing the surface of the bowling ball without the pros knowing he's doing that, okay? I thought that was very strange in the fact where, one, if the USBC was actually doing it, which PJ Haggerty, who's a good friend a friend of the show's, went on and said he observed them doing that with his own 2 eyes. So he was there present and saw them do it. Now, Mike, we all know that changing the surface of a bowling ball is not a huge deal, okay? It's not, because they change the surface after every squad anyway, right?
Can I go further on that for a second?
Okay, go ahead.
We're talking about guys who literally drill a ball off of the truck and bring it out and throw it in the biggest competitions you could imagine without ever throwing it before, based on the recommendation of a ball rep. So listen,
Mike.
If you're going to sit here. If you're going to sit here, if anybody's going to sit here, including Belmo, and try and convince me that altering the surface of a ball is that big of a deal, I'm sorry, it doesn't seem like that big of a deal to me.
It's not, Mike, because I bowled with these guys for years. I bowled at the World Series. I've seen what they do. They're hitting their balls with the pads before every squad, regardless. They're putting the fresh cover back on the bowling ball. And that's a good tip for anybody bowling anywhere. You should really be hitting your balls with pads before every squad or before every league night. If you like your ball at 3,000, you hit it with 3,000. You like it at 4,000, you hit it with 4. You want to get the fresh grooves in the outside of the ball, right? That's a well-known fact. So they're doing it behind every ball. It's the fact that they did it without telling anybody. And I think that's the bigger point here. It's not the huge deal they changed the surface, but it's the fact that they gave a bowling ball that might have been in a certain, I don't know, whatever it is, and that they went and did that without telling anybody. Now, did they do that for the benefit of the bowler?
But hold on, but wouldn't that have been obvious when they gave the ball back to the player?
100%.
And the surface was changed.
So why is it coming out 2 months later, right?
Well, I don't because
he's
here's my
the
other
only one
question.
that really talked
What
about
if they're doing that? And I think this was the reasoning behind it. If what people are telling me is correct and what I'm reading is correct, I think the reasoning behind sanding the balls was so that more balls would pass.
Yeah, they were doing it for the benefit of the bowler, right?
That's so why criticize them for that?
Because it's just the transparency of it, Mike. It's just the fact they're not telling them they're doing it.
I don't know.
Mike, it's understandable.
But again, then we're back to we're accusing the USBC of doing something untoward. I'm just saying in this testing, and I'm sorry, I just don't believe that.
No, I don't. But here's the thing: is like I think that with their black curtain that they had up, right? Which they've been doing that, I believe, for years with the black curtain, the testing the balls, whatever. But they have a black curtain up. Then they start changing the surface of the bowling balls without them knowing. Then all of a sudden, all these balls come up illegal for hardness that they get banned. They ban them for the national level, but they don't ban them from anything else. I mean, the whole situation, like it's understandable why Belmo was questioning it, but there's a lot of timing stuff here that is off to me. The whole timing of this whole thing, the way when they banned him, the USBC, when Belmo became outspoken against the USBC was a weird timing, right? He started this social media campaign against them the day before his bowling ball, the Trend 2, and the other 5 Storm balls became illegal. And look up his Facebook post. So the timing of it is not a coincidence, Mike.
Well, he also mentioned in his live that I believe he mentioned, and you can go back and check it if you want to watch it, but I believe he mentioned that either he specifically or Storm, I forget what phrasing he used, but either he specifically or Storm did not know that these balls were going to be announced as banned when he made his initial Facebook post about the testing situation. And I got to be honest, like I'm not sure that I believe that. I'm not sure I believe that. And listen, I'm gonna generally speak here. I find most of the information that Storm is putting out to be somewhat disingenuous and propaganda-like. Okay, and I'll give you a couple examples. I just gave one, okay, from the live. I'll give another one. The video that came out this past week where they're smashing the bowling balls after showing that they test good. Yeah, well, if you understand the testing process, you would understand that some balls are going to test good that are banned, because not every ball is going to be out of spec. They only test a certain amount of balls, and they extrapolate that out to equal a percentage or predict a percentage of the balls that will test out of spec. And it's not 100%. So of course, a good number of the balls are going to come back and are going to be within legal bounds. So for Storm to put out a video like that without explaining much of the process, to me, again, disingenuous. It's kind of propaganda-like. I'll give another example, okay? Why is no one talking about the fact that in all this, Storm has changed the way they are doing surfaces on bowling balls now?
Oh, the
coming
4K?
Out of the factory. So that's just a coincidence?
Well, they had to make a change. I mean,
but I'm saying that's just a coincidence. I don't know.
No. I mean, look, there's to me.
Hold on, I'm not done yet. I'm not done yet, Rob. I'm sorry, I'm not done yet. I'll give another example. Okay. Belmo mentioned in his live And he started out his live by saying he was never asked to do any of this by Storm, and I believe that. I believe that. I'll take his word on that. But he also sort of went into the realm of saying that there's no effort by Storm to defend the company on social media or ask people. And listen, come on. Again, like, is it a coincidence? Is it a coincidence that all this stuff comes out and all the people that are part of Storm on social media, change their logos to Storm? I don't know. Like, could it be coincidence? I guess. Could it be a grassroots type thing where one person sees it and decides to do it, and then it's a domino effect? I get that, but I just find it hard to believe that some of this stuff that is said, oh, it's not going down that way, that it actually is going down that way. All right, Rob, go ahead. PTA Mike is done.
PTA
Leon.
Mike is done. I guess the whole thing of the situation is the fact that Storm keeps continuing every week or two. You see something new come out from them, right, on their social media, right? They're really not letting this go, okay? And I said this last week. The best way for them to handle this was to take care of their customers that have these illegal bowling balls, and then make new bowling balls that will strike and be legal. And people will forget really quick when the new release comes out and everybody must have it. So to me, you spend your time and your focus on developing new equipment, new technology, and new bowling balls, so that people quickly forget that they can't use or bought balls that they essentially had to turn in or trade in or get destroyed or whatever. Okay. I think hopefully this will be the last time we talk about this.
No, it won't be. It won't be. It won't.
My other point is, my other problem is the way the USBC the timing of the USBC ban. And I said this since the beginning.
I'm not a fan of the USBC. Like, can I be clear about that? I'm not a fan of either side on this, to be quite frank. Like, I'm not a fan of either side. But USBC has botched this from the beginning as well. So
look, it's tough. It's tough for me to take anything that a Storm staffer is saying or coming from Storm. It's tough for me to believe really anything that comes out of the Storm camp, because they're the ones that made the legal bowling balls. So they're going to try to do whatever they can to save face and to not lose customers. Okay. Because to me, as a business, that's your most important thing, is losing your customer base. Okay. And I've seen it. And actually my worst of the week is going to highlight this, where people are going to Hammer or EBI now, or maybe Motive, because of the fact where they've maybe been screwed over once or twice with this whole illegal ball banning stuff. So to me, Storm is trying to save face, and I get it, right? Like, they're a business. They're trying to save face. But for people to be like, oh, well, look at Storm's new video, or look at Belmo's Facebook post, they're saying this and this and this and this. And like, I don't know. I really can't take that for what it's worth, because it's coming from that camp. You know what I mean? So I don't know, Mike. All I'm saying is this story, man, we beat this horse is so dead. I mean, it's been on the side of the road. It's been rotting. We've been beating this freaking horse so dead. Yeah. But look, it's something for us to talk about.
But they're the ones that keep doubling down.
They do, and they won't let it die.
Right, and restarting the conversation in a way, So I agree. I agree with a lot of what you said there towards the end, Rob.
Mike, like, it's crazy, because like, imagine if a big business or a company found out that like they're like a food supply chain or food company made all this food that had salmonella poisoning and people were getting sick over it, and then they come out with videos a week or two after, and they're like, oh, well, it was because this, and like, you're not going to believe what they're saying. It's exactly goes back to that Simpsons episode.
It's Mr. Burns and the three-eyed fish.
You can't, look, Storm, if you're listening to me, the best way to take care of this situation is let it go, make new bowling balls that strike, take care of your customers that are affected, and be done with it.
And to just one last point here, Rob, and I this is a bigger point, but you just made me think of this when you said, make more balls. It's shocking to me that we're going to stay focused on this issue for so long, being that we're in an era of bowling ball production where there's new balls coming out like every other week. Like we're going to stay focused on these balls and the banning of these balls and keep talking about this issue, even though, a couple weeks from now, we're going to be releasing new balls that we're going to promote as better than the balls that we released a month ago that got banned. I don't know.
Okay. So I got 2 more points real quick. I got to bring up Juan Carlos. What's up, brother? There was the USBC inducted Bill and Barbara Christman into the USBC Hall of Fame this past week or 2 weeks ago. If the USBC had such a conspiracy against Storm Bowling, why would the owners of Storm accept the Hall of Fame nomination, and why would USBC nominate them if there is this big underground war going on? You know why? Because in my opinion, Mike, and this is just my opinion, I think that's just a made-up conspiracy, right? Chad Murphy doesn't have some personal vendetta against Storm. I don't believe that for a second. If you know Chad is about keeping the rules, and when they became banned and the balls were hard over a certain point, he put his foot down and said, no, these balls are banned. That's what happened. My opinion, the timing of the USBC was terrible. They should have gave at least a 2 to 3 week, 4 week buffer on the bannings for the people bowling nationals that week. The masters were bowling that week. People shipped their equipment out. They paid money for entry. They couldn't use 4 of the 7 or 8 balls that they brought. The whole timing of it from USBC stunk. But for a conspiracy, it's bullshit. I don't believe that.
Agreed. The USBC is fraudulent to me. Like to let the game get to where it's at, and now we're going to obsess over technicalities of soft bowling balls when we don't even know what the real effect is of the softness of the bowling balls is just so fraudulent. I can't stand it.
Here's my last point.
It's like public education. It is. It's like public education. Can't stand it.
Here's my last point. It stinks for the bowlers that are still using those specific banned balls in the tournament. And I mean, like, for instance, this past weekend, right? Guy in my pair, we were bowling, he pulls out an altered reality. Okay. All of a sudden we're all, asterisk, cheater ball. Oh, how soft is it? I mean, we're literally busting his balls in the middle of a tournament because he's using an altered reality. Mike, that is happening all across the country. Trust me. Okay. If it's not just in our tournament, and look, we're all friends. We all know each other on the pair, right? Had a great cross, but you don't think everybody's going, oh, you won it with a UFO alert asterisk. But there are some, dicks like Mr. X, who, if I was to bowl a tournament against Mr. X and I pull out a UFO alert in the final match and beat him with it, you don't think he's going to have some wise-ass comments leaving there? I know Mr. X's type.
Yeah, but he probably doesn't. Him specifically doesn't even know enough to know. But
if he knew, but I'm talking about the type of bowler that Mr. X is. That type.
Yeah, I agree.
You had to pull out an illegal ball against me. So now it forces people to maybe not want to hear those kind of snark comments and maybe not to use those type of balls. You know what I mean? Mike, I have a Wolverine. I was ready to pull that shit out the minute I could. I don't give a shit. If it's legal to use, it's legal.
Yo, I tell him, get you one. Get you. You don't like it? Get you one.
Anyway, so, yeah, that's hopefully this issue. I don't want to hear a lot of it, but I feel like it's going to keep, as long as Belmo and Storm keep, putting up social media posts in regards to it and keeping the conversation alive. I think that's their biggest, drivers. They want to keep the conversation alive. They want to prove the fact that what they did was, they did nothing wrong and, they're making it right and all this stuff. And it's just like, dude, just make the new balls, let it go.
All right, we're going to move on. I'm so fed up with the USBC, though. I'd really like to, and I know we've joked about this in the past, but I would really like to, around the idea of sport bowling, start our own governing body. What better time in bowling, honestly, to start something like that than right now, where
Mike,
people. Lucas Wiseman put out a poll over the last week about, do you approve of the job the USBC is doing? I think only 6% of people said yes, they approve, and it got 4 figures worth of votes. I don't know.
It was 73% disapproved, 20-something percent were indifferent, and then 4 or 5% approved.
Yeah, and I thought to myself this week, how do you appeal to the ego of house bowlers, right? And I think money is one way to appeal to the ego of house bowlers, right? So what if we started a sanctioning body, okay, a new sanctioning body in bowling where like it would have obviously would have to be small at first, and we would have to use our connections to certify that what's being done is actually being done, right? Things would obviously have to be certified in that way. But what if you said, okay, we're going to offer, $25,000 for an 800 series, to anybody that bowls in one of our sanctioned leagues. You shoot 800 in one of our sanctioned leagues, and we have sanctioned proof that the lanes are what you said that you are, that they're supposed to be. 25 grand, in your pocket. I mean, I think that might get some of the house mouses, off of the house patterns. Give it a shot, thinking, oh, 800, I shoot 800 on the regular, let me go collect 25 grand. And, they might not sniff 800 for years bowling in a sport league like that. Again, if we're making them legitimately tough, where let's say the ratio is 2.5 to 1 or less, right? And there's 3 different rotating patterns at a minimum.
Here's the thing is, and I've had this conversation so many times with people in the pro shop, Mike. Because this is a perfect time to have a new governing body. Look, here's what the conversation leads. Is what really the USBC, what really needs to happen is they need to talk to the proprietors that are, running USBC sanctioned leagues, right? And they need to tell the proprietors, if your league is going to be sanctioned, then you have to put out a pattern. And the USBC needs to listen. Let me finish. The USBC needs to give them a list of like 5 patterns that maybe are tested the first week of league, or maybe have a practice session for the league. I'm just throwing an idea out. And then the bowlers vote on which pattern in the league meeting of what they want to bowl on. And it could be, maybe they bowl on one pattern 12 weeks, another pattern, every quarter of the season, whatever it is. And that needs to be part of the sanctioning of a league, where it has to be on a certain pattern. And they have to get rid of the sport shot tournaments and the sport shot leagues. Everything USBC sanctioned has to be on some kind of, level playing field pattern that the USBC gives, not what the proprietors are putting out. Okay.
Never going to happen.
You know why it's never going to happen? But this was where the conversation would go, right? That was my idea. So what would happen is you'd have a bunch of leagues that wouldn't be sanctioned, right? That would just be, fuck it, then we're not going to be sanctioned by the USBC. We're just going to run our own league and let the house put out their own shot, right? So the USBC membership is going to fall dramatically. Already it's decreasing, but it's decreasing slowly, right? This is going to literally make the line do this. It's going to pretty much.
I think you're saying burn it down and start over.
Look, that's what. But here's the thing: is sometimes you have to burn it down and you start over, right? Sometimes that has to happen. And I'm not saying burn it down. I'm saying where you have to decrease the membership in order to slowly bring back integrity, morale, and integrity into the game. Okay. And in order for that to happen, you bring back integrity of 300s, you bring back integrity of 800s. The 300s will decrease, the 800s will decrease. But when someone bowls it, then you could start giving rings again for every 300 you bowl.
No, at this point, though, it's too late. It's too far gone. We had Chad on this show. It was clear in that conversation that the USBC is more interested in the business of bowling,
of course,
than it is in the integrity of bowling. Rob,
but I'm saying
it needs to be a whole new. No, it needs to be a whole new sanctioning body. We need the people that want to take the game seriously and compete in the real side of the game need to break away from the USBC and go start our own. And then we need to promote that side in some way to start stealing bowlers from the USBC. And you know what? Jeff Fair commented, they'll quit. They will quit quicker than you think. All right, then let them quit. And we'll take what we have and we'll build with that. But I think, over time, over the long course of time, you can sway things, right? And I'll also say this. Somebody else mentioned, if you put up something like 25 grand for an 800, people are going to collude and cheat to win that money. I don't know about that. I think the bowling community is small enough that, let's say, if you wanted to have, I don't even know, even a couple hundred leagues across the country, right? Which isn't all that much. A couple hundred leagues across the country. It's likely that there's only a couple lines of connection between the center owners and the governing body, or people involved, or a pro shop owner in that house who can really legitimately certify for the governing body that what is being bowled on is being bowled on. And that's the way that it would have to be. But I'm interested. I am. I'm ready to find a sponsor to put up $25,000 and say, all right, I'm starting a governing body. This is how it has to run. You shoot, first person to shoot 800 wins $25,000 prize. Come on out and try it, and come up with the rules of how we're going to certify things, how we're going to make things work. But yeah, I think it's time. I think right now is like a key time in the bowling community to be able to push that change. But all right, enough of our nonsense, Rob. There's bowling action to talk about. I actually wanted to start tonight with the bowling action after our league review and all that, but Rob was like, no, we're going Belmo Live first. We're talking Belmo Live first because that's what the people are going to want, and then we'll get to the bowling action. Myself, I like the bowling action more than the drama.
Well, hey, Mike, I'm not sure if you know this to get into the PBA playoffs review. I don't know if you knew this or not, and I don't know if this is breaking news, but Sean Maldonado is hurt his back.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know if did they mention it on the telecast?
Maybe once or twice.
Because I was watching the show, and then after the fact, I was just like, was Maldonado hurt? Because I didn't hear it, or no one talked about it. And people are answering my question. Phil, I know he's hurt. They talked about it every 30 seconds. It was the biggest topic conversation that they had. Mike, every time Maldonado threw that ball, they were like, oh, he's hurt. Oh, the pain. Oh, he couldn't even do this. He couldn't even do that. And I'm just like, oh, my God. Can we focus on the bowling? Like, what's going on the lanes? What's going on with the adjustments, the moves? How are they playing the lanes? What's their next move going to be? Instead, all we were talking about was, oh, Maldonado's hurt. Maldonado's hurt. He's so hurt. He's this, he's that. Mike, I threw my back out before. I'm not saying he wasn't hurt. You can't even think about picking up a bowling ball when you throw your back out. I mean, you can't even get up out of bed, let alone throw a bowling ball. So I'm not questioning how hurt he was, but Mike, I don't know if you knew this, but he was hurt.
Yeah, I follow. All right, the bowling action though. I actually thought that these were two of the better matches that we've seen throughout this PBA playoffs. There's been a lot of matches, and obviously this has taken place over quite a few weeks. So, I'm sure there's other examples of great matches that have occurred that we could go back and look at and compare. But in terms of both matches going to a roll-off, right? Both matches were relatively close throughout. You had runs by both players in both matches. So I really thought that the action in these matches was really good. Which one do you want to talk about first, Rob? Do you want to talk about?
Let's talk Maldonado. His back was hurt.
Okay, all right. So, am I wrong for saying that Maldonado should have won that match?
Oh,
and the AJ Johnson. And listen, I've got much love for AJ Johnson. Respect him as a player, no doubt. He's a friend of the show. Love his attitude, love his aggressiveness, etc. Okay, he got lucky. He should have lost that match. Okay, even with Sean Maldonado having a hurt back, AJ should have lost that match.
Wait,
he made some errant shots. Okay, there were a couple times where he crossed over. Sean Maldonado's carry was terrible. So in the first game,
so tough.
I know, but in the first game, AJ gives Maldonado the chance to win. Maldonado goes up and throws the first strike, and then all he needs is 9 spare to tie, strike to win. And he goes up and just at the wrong time, the ball wiggles a little bit, and he goes 2-8 instead of 2-pin and loses that game. Then in the second game, he comes back, obviously gets the win, so they go to the roll-off. And in the roll-off, he basically threw 2 great shots that did not carry. While on the other side, I feel like AJ kind of made at least one errant shot in that roll-off. Now, he made up for it. He was able to recover from it. But I after I watched that match, I just definitely felt like AJ Johnson was very fortunate to move on. People are asking in the chat. Gary's asking in the chat, am I betting with AJ the rest of the way? I got to be honest with you, Gary. After that performance, after that match,
on the fresh.
I don't think I'm gonna have my money on AJ Johnson this weekend. Now
it depends.
That's
Mike,
also
it depends when
that's also to say that it's a different bowling center, right? We're bowling in a different bowling center, okay? So who knows how that's going to affect things, right? To bet this is going to be a little bit tricky this weekend because they're moving to a different bowling center. So you can't totally base on what happened, but just in terms of how he threw it in some of the bigger spots in that match, my confidence kind of went down with him this weekend. Rob,
look, like the look on the fresh compared to the burn was completely different, in my opinion. I think AJ struggled on the fresh. He was trying to use that. By the way, in the chat room, he was using that new tank, that non-urethane tank or polymer.
Made a good ball switch. Made a good ball switch early in the match.
Well, he had to because I feel like he needed to. So it depends. I feel like you're right. It's going to be tough to bet. They're probably going to use the same pattern. Different bone center though they're gonna play completely different than what they've been bowling on the last 3 or 4 matches on the show. So to me, I probably wouldn't bet the first match. I'd kind of wait and see what the shot looks like, and then bet the second match, and then bet the finals. But in my opinion, look, this is me just being a fan. Whoever wins the Prather Troop match is going to win this tournament. I'm just look. Tommy and AJ are great, right? They're great bowlers. I love them. Like, they're friends of mine, whatever. But Mike, how could you bet against right now Kyle or Chris? I mean, but it is in a new bowling alley, like we said. So that 250 average that Troop had, or 260 average right now, everything goes out the window. It's literally anybody's tournament right now. But if I was just going off of the previous shows, I can't bet against the whoever wins the Troop Kyle match.
The position that AJ Johnson is in now going into this Final Four reminds me.
I like this comment right here.
Let me see.
AJ has the most favorable matchup against Tommy, right? Oh, yeah. No, I wouldn't have. You want to go against Kyle Troop or Chris Prather right now?
But you want to go against Tommy Jones? You want to go against Tommy Jones using the purple hammer?
I'd rather go against Tommy. I'd rather go against Tommy using the purple hammer than against Chris or Chris on the fresh. Prather on the fresh would maybe be, to me, probably the best matchup. But on Prather on the burn, nobody's beating him on the burn on that shot.
Here's the thing I'll say about this tournament, and I know it's only going on for a few years here, right? And you had Chris Prather, win it. Then you had Bill win it. Then you had Kyle win it, right? So those have been the 3 winners, okay? And I'm going to say that the position that AJ Johnson is in here in this event reminds me of the position that Chris Prather was in the year that he won. And the reason I say that is because when you look at the roster of the other bowlers here, you definitely look at AJ Johnson as being sort of the underdog of this 4, okay, especially given their career resumes. And Chris Prather was kind of in that same position in that first PBA playoffs where you had Sean Rash and Bill facing off in the one match, and Simonson and Prather facing off in the other match, right? So I think most people had Simonson there. Most people felt like, the winner of Bill Rash probably had an advantage. And then when Prather beat Simonson, I was there. I remember thinking Bill has a pretty good chance here. I'd much rather be bowling Prather than bowling Simonson, at that time. So the spot that AJ Johnson is in here, I kind of feel like is a good spot if he can get in that place mentally where he's the underdog and he has nothing to lose and there's no pressure here because no one really expects him to go out and beat Tommy Jones and either Troop or Prather, right? Could we see him get into the final? Like you said, you think that's the easier of the two paths, right, or three paths that there could be, but still, if he can go out there and he can get in that mindset, I like his chances more. But you're Rob. I tend to agree with you about the Troop Prather and whoever comes out of that match.
So my brother has a knowledge of the center they're going to. And if that's true and Jupiter is a little bit slicker, I feel like that's going to be better for Kyle Troop. Because I feel like AJ, the reason why they're there now is because of the fact Jupiter or Kegel hooks more. So Prather has been bowling good. Kyle Troop's been bowling good. Obviously, the people who like to have that little bit of hook. Tommy Jones has always been since he's been on tour, the type of pro where if he has a little bit of hook to the right and a little bit of friction, he'll kill you and he'll outscore you and he'll be able to just fire it right and be able to make the ball hook back from anywhere. So I feel like if it is tighter, I kind of do like Kyle Troop's chances.
Okay. I like Prather even more if they're a little bit tighter because I think he benefits from being able to get slow and slow hook it a little bit.
Right.
Rick Wagner in the chat saying Prather is the best one-handed bowler in the world, but AJ throws it so good it's his time to break through here. Really, Rick? I don't know. In a tournament that's worth $100,000 and he's never won a title before, and if he finds himself in that spot, he's going to be bowling one of the two best bowlers on the planet, the player of the year from last year, or as you said, the best one-handed player in the world. And he's going to climb that to win his first event. Rick, I mean, we're asking a lot there, my guy. We're asking a lot there. I'll be super impressed. I will be super impressed if he's able to get that done. Do I doubt him? I don't doubt him. I mean, the kid has unbelievable talent. But, as Thomas Brown is saying in the chat, if you're going up against Prather for $100K, this is a guy who has won $100K 3 times, I believe, over the last few years. So, if you're going up against Kyle Troop, this is somebody who's bowled for $250, okay? Has bowled for $250, has bowled for $100K several times. So, we'll see. We'll see. You say he's throwing it great, Rick, but he's the only guy to throw a crossover on the whole show.
They're all throwing it great, Mike. They're all throwing it great right now.
I don't know, man. When I see a pro crossover, I think, wow, that had to be a pretty errant shot on their part.
Is this the same Rick Wagner that bowls in Long Island that beat me for a Live title because I missed a 10 pin in the 10th? I'm curious if that's the same Rick Wagner.
Rob wants to know so he can set it straight with you, Rick.
I missed that 10 pin. I choked an attempt to lose that title.
So we got to go. We got to talk about the other match because we kind of jumped into the semifinal there and got off track a little bit. But you had Tommy Jones against Jesper. To me, I don't know. I just don't understand how Jesper doesn't knock down 10 pins the vast majority of the time. So I don't know.
Dude, that was my pick. Jesper was my pick. But that was a great match, though. That was probably might have been the best match of the tournament, honestly. Especially because I love these matches. I feel like it's set up that way that they're all going in like these, the sudden death 9th and 10th frame roll off. But man, at the time when I was watching the match, and Jesper won the second match, and Jesper bowled like 260. I said, man, like I don't think he can lose this match. And then what happens, dude? Just the bad carry, urethane bad carry hits him. And remember, I talked about one of my biggest pet peeves right now in bowling is when someone throws urethane and then they complain that they can't carry. I don't want to hear shit from people if they're throwing urethane and they don't carry to win. Tough shit. You're throwing urethane. If you don't carry, that's on you. That's not on anybody else. I don't want to hear it if you lose a stone and 8 or lose a 7 or a stone a 7 or flat a 10 to lose.
Okay, fair enough. I agree. I think that match pretty much came down to Jesper's carry. He didn't carry in the first game very well. He carried in the second game very well. He did not carry in the roll-off very well, unfortunately for him. And to his chagrin, Tommy Jones carried very well.
I love that. People rooting for urethane not to carry. People hate urethane. It is boring to watch, Mike. I mean, look, I've been on the record saying that so many times.
Breaking news from Nico. It seems like Dr. Barnes has won the PBA 50 title that was taking place just now. Yeah. So that's good. In related news, Rob, I canceled my Flow subscription.
I'm sure there's a lot of people else that did.
That's a big deal. Flow subscription.
That's a big deal.
I know. I was ardent supporter of Flow Bowling.
It's canceled it. A lot of people canceled.
Yeah, it's going to be on there till November, I think, because I paid for the year. But So let me ask you. So what content are you going to be getting from now until November on Flow? No, I don't know. I don't really care. I'm not really worried about it. But
no, let's talk about it.
I did sign up. I did sign up for Bowl TV.
Bowl TV.
I am a member of Bowl TV now.
Yeah.
So I will be checking out the PBA 50. I was watching. I was watching another PBA 50 event on there last week. I was checking that out. Yeah. And when I signed up, it was the intercollegiate team championships. And I was like, all right, I'm going to check this out.
What is that membership? Are they charging you by the year or by the month?
Yeah, I think it was the year. I think it was about $80 for the year, maybe something like that. I think so. I don't honestly. I'm terrible to ask. I really am because I don't pay attention to the price of anything.
Dude, does the PWBA start? I haven't even looked.
Yeah, I believe it starts next week. Nico, it's interesting that you bring that up. Rob and I were having some conversations behind the scenes about how we would like to involve some of the players from the PWBA going forward. It's something that we've touched on here and there, but we haven't gotten too deeply into. But
I could reach out to Brianna. I mean, she'd love to come on talk about beating me. 2 weeks ago.
I would love to talk to her about beating you too. So yeah, we'll definitely try and get that going, Nico, and I'll be checking that out on Bowl TV as well. Obviously I paid for it. So
do you want to know who I want to bring on? I want to bring Diana Zajelovich. Is that how you say her last name?
Not sure.
I want to ask her how much money she spends at the hairstylist every month.
Okay.
Dude, she's got a new hairstyle every time I see her. Okay, we've already had Daria.
Ryan,
Vasquez.
We had her on already. Check our YouTube page, bro. Check our website.
Daria. We should bring Daria on though. I like to talk to her again. I like to talk to her anytime I can.
Okay. All right. So, Final Four this weekend, Sunday, 1 p.m. It is Mother's Day, so kind of a bad day. I probably won't even be around to watch the show. I'm probably going to have to stay up on it on social media. If there is betting, I will have bets in. I'll put my bets out on Twitter. I checked today, and there were no odds up. There were no betting options up as of yet. So I'll definitely keep people up on that. They usually don't pop up until shortly before the show. Who would you like, Rob? I mean, personally, it's hard for me to bet against Chris Prather. It really is. The only thing I can say is that Troop's the only two-hander left here. And, that's to me, that's an advantage. That's a distinct advantage. So, but I think I'd be betting Prather, and I think I'd be betting Jones.
I'm going the complete opposite of you.
Okay.
I'm going Troop against AJ.
Okay.
And I think that match is going to be as close as it can be. And I think, I don't know. I think Kyle's gonna win again. But I think AJ is going to come out to the 10 frame, and AJ is going to get a bad break to lose. And I hate to say that because I love AJ, but that's my prediction.
Okay. All right. Well, we will see. We will see on Sunday. We will see how it turns out. Jimmy in the chat, what's good? The Ringing 10. Hoping the crowd's hyped for the semifinals. I do too. Dave Brook, you're down in the area. Are you going? Is there any chance we're going to see you at the show? Maybe you could be in the crowd getting hyped.
He'd probably Bill was bowling. He'd probably be down.
Oh, if Bill was bowling, I'd be down there. I'd be taking a trip to Florida this weekend, son. Chilling in Florida.
What do you mean? What do you mean? You can't even go to Vegas. You gonna go to Florida?
Florida's quick, and it's cheap. Listen. You think my wife wants to send me to Vegas on my own, son?
So hey,
do you understand what goes through her head when I say I'm going to go to Vegas for a long weekend on my own? I don't know, bro.
Bring her.
I would. It's just tough. It's tough with the kids,
Yeah.
All right. Rob, let's give the people what they want. Oh my goodness. It was such an easy week for worst of the week this week, can I just tell you?
Sure. So sounds like you got a good one. So I'm gonna go first. Okay, because this is, if anybody knows me, one of my biggest pet peeves in bowling, besides people complaining about carry when they're throwing urethane, is the fact where these bowlers are loyal to ball staff companies, but they're not even on staff. Okay, and it bothers me because why are you loyal to them? Like, throw the best equipment you can, right? Like, oh, yeah, probably. Yeah, for the first 20 minutes of me trying to get my legs under me.
Jimmy saying worst of the week was Josh Blanchard having to watch Rob's practice shots.
Yeah,
Touché.
Trying to while my legs are spasming and I'm trying to stretch them out. That was a shit show. Okay, so mine is Anthony Moore Liskey from Storm Bowling Fans. He wrote, "Hey everyone, is it bad of me to think that I'm trying to switch companies from Storm to Hammer because I just don't think Storm products is right for me? Is it bad?" Question mark.
Oh boy,
Mike. So you know what I wrote? I commented on that post. I don't know if you saw that. I wrote, "Hopefully Storm doesn't find out." And he's like, "Yeah, I know." I'm just like,
the evil empire will come after you.
I'm like, dude, I wanted to just like be like, bro, throw the best balls you can. If it's a hammer ball, then throw a hammer ball. If it's a storm ball, throw a storm ball. If it's a motive ball, throw a motive ball. Shit, throw all three of them. Because guess what? My guess is if you're posting that you're not on staff, and just try everything out. Shit, if you can get a hold of whatever. Big Bowling has a couple of good balls. Throw those. Why handcuff yourself to one company because you want to be a patch pirate? You know, these are wannabe patch pirates, Mike. Like, these are guys who aren't even on staff thinking they're on staff. Nico's all staff. Be an all staff member. Throw everything you can. Why limit yourself? But why being loyal to one company makes no sense to me if you're not on contract.
Don't be a patch pirate. Just don't do it.
Don't.
Okay.
Just,
Don't do it. You know, if you're not getting paid to throw the bowling balls, just politely decline and talk to your local pro shop guy. If you drill enough stuff, they'll hook you up anyway.
Verse of the week is Maldonado's back. Oh man.
Oh, that's rough. All right, I have multiple worst of the weeks. Honestly, I want to give one to that Storm video because I thought it was so disingenuous.
Yo, Placo's in the chat. What up, Placo? I teach my kids when you don't get for free, it's ball motion, not brand. 100%.
Yeah.
100%.
Absolutely. Okay. So on Twitter earlier this week, Jill Winters, who does some media work for the PBA, who I follow, she's also a bowler who I follow on Twitter. Seems like a very nice girl. What's up, Jill? If you catch this,
she's watching.
Well, she might be because I promised her this. On Twitter, so she might try and catch this. Somebody might alert her to it. She, does like the wrap-up articles for the PBA show. So after the show on Sunday, she did a wrap-up article, that was titled "Johnson and Jones Earn Their Way into the Kia PBA Playoffs Final Four." All right. So this guy on Twitter, Vegas Andy, all right, his @ is SVN out. SVN out if you want to hit him up, okay? Vegas Andy. He tweets at Jill on her tweet where she sent out this article, okay? And he tweets at her. And he says, "Thanks, Jill. I don't have to watch now. It really is important for you to ruin the show 2 minutes after anyone who taped it. Hope you learn some common courtesy at some point." Okay? So Jill retweeted his tweet and said, "The story was posted after the show aired on TV. You might want to stay off social media if you are taping something." So this dope, whoever Vegas Andy is, you're dope, son. You're dope. Okay. He tapes the show, then goes on social media
and yells at someone
and is
for
mad because he went on social media and saw the result of the show.
yeah.
Yo, and Vegas Andy, you're dope, son. For real. Who doesn't know that if you tape something and you don't want to know the result, stay off social media? Right?
Right.
Stay off social media. Like that's a no-brainer. If you don't want to hear the results, stay off social media. Now, somebody responded to his post. I got to put this out there because this was an excellent response. Somebody responded to Vegas Andy's post. It was McKeon76, and he says, "First time watching sports, Andy." Like,
yeah,
Andy, come on.
Yo,
Like,
Twitter
who
gets
don't
brutal.
know, son? Come on. I mean, really. Oh, Jesus.
Twitter
Doyle
gets
Irons
brutal.
mentioning the Warhawk in the chat. You know who I can't help but think about one person when I think about the Warhawk bowling ball. There's two things that come to mind. One thing was that commercial. You remember the commercial they had for the wall? I think we did a video breakdown. I think we did it. No, we don't have time. I think we did a video breakdown of it, though, didn't we? We actually posted a video breakdown of that commercial that had the goalie on the lane, and they were like, it like goes right by the goalie. The person I think of, Johnny Jr. You're gonna love what I'm about to say right here. No, not John Mazza. A good one though, John. Here's the person I think of when I think Warhawk. Walter Hastings, bro.
Tremor.
He used to throw that ball. And that thing would look like a bomb going off as it went through the pins. I mean, it was unbelievable.
Walter Hastings, I think of the Columbia Tremor.
Nah, don't care. Warhawk.
That's what he bowled his 860 with. You remember? And everyone was like, "Oh, the Tremor," all kinds of stuff. But it's funny because I think everybody has, if you think of a bowling ball, you associate it with someone from that time when you were bowling, right?
Oh, so yeah.
For instance, do you remember the track flare? You think of Doyle Irons, right?
I don't. A track flare, I think of. I had a track flare, actually. Terrible ball. Probably one of the worst balls I ever had.
Don't tell Doyle that.
Finished third in the JVT Thanksgiving Classic, mainly throwing that ball as well. But terrible ball. You know who I think of when I think track flare? Butch Soper. Butch Soper won a title with that ball.
You're right, Butch Soper. 100%.
Oh, look at this. Johnny Jr. saying Triton Heat. Big Mike. I did throw the Triton Heat all the time. Love the Triton Heat. Probably my favorite ball ever.
So, yeah, you could just name bowling balls and, you would think of, people like pros, too, especially, right? Synergy. So the synergy
Norm
was
Duke,
John Mazza.
Synergy to me was Tommy DeLuce Jr.
Tommy DeLuce Jr. What about Danger Zone? Danger Zone.
Parker Bone. Walter. Well, a lot of people. Walter Ray too.
Right. But there's just so many. Dude, there's so many balls.
Honestly, when I think Quantum, I think Johnny Petraglia. When I think Green Quantum, I think Johnny Petraglia. Right. I mean, I think that was the ball he was using when he shot 300. Was it not? Am I right about that?
Maybe we should do a segment and we do a list of 20 bowling balls and we just do a word association.
Yeah, that's wild. When I think NRG, I think Lee Vanderhoff. He always used to throw that NRG, track NRG.
Oh, Bill O'Neill loved the Danger Zone.
Oh, yeah. Oh, Bill O'Neill, big
danger
zone guy. Big danger zone guy. Yep, absolutely. Yeah.
So, yeah. He loved the Columbia Rockstar.
When I think, you know what ball I associate with you? Blue Thunder. Storm Thunder. Blue Storm Thunder.
Yo, I still have a blank.
That's wild.
16 pounds. It's in my closet.
That is wild.
If anybody wants to sell it, at 350, right? I'll get rid of it right now. Blue Thunder, blank, OG. But I like the Black Thunder too. I mean, there was a man.
Yeah, you like both those, but I just remember you throwing the Blue Thunder a lot and getting hyped with that ball in your hands.
Violet Quantum too.
It was a pretty ball going down the lane. That Blue Thunder.
Attitude 3, most underrated Brunswick ball out there too. The ugliest one. Remember that one? That was a good ball though.
Yeah, Attitude Piranha. 3, orange Piranha for me, if we're doing junior bowlers, is Steve Stumpo. He had an orange Piranha that was plugged 85 times, and he went to the Lehigh Valley Masters and won the Lehigh Valley Masters using it. It was plugged 80 times. I swear to God, it was crazy. But pro, I have to associate Norm Duke with the Piranha in my eyes.
Speaking of Blue Hammer, I ran into Brett Wolf this weekend.
Ooh. Okay.
So there's a good one association. Brett
Man,
will bowl the tournament.
how before his time was he?
He was the urethane god
Right?
before the urethane.
I mean, oh my God, won the Masters with the urethane before anybody even thought to use it. Wild.
Yep. Yeah, crazy. So I didn't get a chance to bowl near him. So I'd been curious to what he was throwing, if it was the new urethane or if he was sticking with the old urethane. I didn't get a chance. I didn't get to watch him bowl. He was literally like 10 pairs away from me. But anyway, Mike, we could talk about old stuff for hours. Maybe
I get what they want. Wrap it up.
Dude, I love that.
Yeah, it's good stuff. It's good stuff. All right, Rob, final thoughts here.
Nah, man, I don't really have a whole lot. Check out the Final Four this weekend. Hopefully they're live. I think I'll be able to watch live this Sunday. I know it's Mother's Day. And unfortunately for me, my mom lives in Vegas. So yeah, everybody out there, have a really happy Mother's Day. If your moms are, still around, spend time with them. I know there's a lot of people that have lost their moms. They don't have their moms. So if your moms are around, cherish them, call them, go out with them, make them feel special. They're your moms. So, happy Mother's Day to everybody out there. Your wives, I know they put up with a lot of shit, especially your wife, Mike. So, take her out.
Definitely got reservations done already.
Yeah.
Reservations done. Flowers are ordered.
Oh, I'm sure you do. I'm sure you do it, Big. If anybody doesn't know Big Mike, when Big Mike does it, Big Mike does it. Like there's no
They don't
mediocre.
call me Big for nothing.
There's no mediocre Mike. This ain't mediocre Mike.
No.
This is Big
This ain't
Mike,
go
right?
Halfway Mike. No.
This isn't mediocre Mike. This is
Not
Big
at all.
Mike.
Not at all. But listen, my final thought is going to be, summer bowling. I'm excited for summer bowling. Excited to have more time to bowl, get out and bowl some more stuff.
I hope Mr. X bowls at Nob Hill.
He won't.
Well, who are we going to talk about? You're going to have to make up some character as somebody.
You know what I think we got to talk, but I'm actually thinking about like taping some of my league sessions this summer and cutting it down and editing the videos, right? Editing the videos and just using it as content here so we can actually see some shots from my my league competitions. So yeah,
Mark,
maybe
when is that being offered, by the way, from Bolero in the chat? Is that being offered right now? Because I'm gonna for sure get one. Like that's a no-brainer. But Mike, I want a suggestion here before we go for your league segment. I don't want to see you bowling. Maybe a couple shots, how you bowl, talk about it. But if anybody's never bowled in a league in New Jersey or New York City, the people are where the interesting content are, Mike. You got to be talking to the people, interviews, how they bowl the night, what are they doing? Because the people and the characters in Jersey leagues and Brooklyn and New York leagues, Long Island, these people are freaking characters, Mike.
You know what
reality show based around it.
So here's what I'd probably do. I'd probably just set the camera up on the tripod in the back and then tell the people I'm bowling against, like, listen, I'm taping the match. I do a podcast. It's for content. Feel free to say whatever you want in the camera. Yeah.
Oh my God.
I would just make it open season. Yeah. And then I'll go back and watch it, and see
Mike,
what they had to say.
I don't know, Kevin. So Kevin Weeks writes, final thoughts, Lane Talk 30K tourney hosted by Belmo.
You want me to have thoughts on a house shot tournament that takes place in different bowling alleys across the world? I mean, come on.
It's not going to end well. It's not going to end well.
Like, I mean, it's cool. It's cool that they're giving away that kind of money to some kind of league bowler, but it's not something that around here we have much interest in.
Yeah, I'm not interested in that, to be honest with you. Robert Mattingly, good to see you in chat, buddy. Why get a Bolero Summer Pass? The one by me is only Cosmic Bowling when they are open. Honestly, Robert, you're probably going to have to find the right times to go practice. I know I went to Bolero after work about 4 o'clock, and, I feel like the best time to practice there is probably a couple hours before the league starts. So this, but if you go on the weekends, you're pretty screwed. You're going to probably have to go during the week at night.
Fair enough. But, guys, as always, we appreciate everybody popping in, joining us, get involved in the conversation. Hit us up on social media. On Twitter, I'm at the 215. He's at Brooklyn Rob 11. Email us. We love the emails. We try and get back as quickly as possible. sweeptherack@gmail. Check out our website, sweeptherackbowling.com. Hit us up, interact, PBA playoffs this weekend, Sunday, 1 o'clock, Big Fox, all right? Check Twitter for our bets and see what we're doing, all right? Everybody have a good week. I'm excited to wrap up league next week. Last league report next week. Very excited for that. Rob, have a great week. Enjoy your practice session this weekend. I'm going to do the same.
Yep.
We'll see everybody next Wednesday.
Later.
You are now listening to Sweep the Rack podcast featuring Brooklyn Rob and Big Mike.